if you're a Tolkien fan,
of course you're going to bring
which I'm a mega Tolkien fan, right? So, maybe our viewers may not know about Tolkien, or maybe they do.
I think everybody does ever since the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Peter Jackson did an okay job, right? Then there's
I think he did pretty well.
There's like the Rings of Power now that Amazon has.
Okay, yes.
And so actually...
heard not as good.
It depends, right? Like some people love it, some people don't. I actually like it, but again, mega Tolkien fan, have read all of his works, including his more esoteric ones.
Okay.
But one of the things they cover in Rings of Power, which just happens, it's a coincidence here, is the origin of Mythril. So in this game, you're in a Mythril mine.
Correct, yeah.
And what's great is Mythril, of course, was introduced by J.R.R. Tolkien, right?
Is that where it came from?
He's the origin of the word Mythril.
I did not know that. Okay, that's fascinating.
Mythril is described in many different ways, but Mythril comes from two words, myth and rill. And I think myth means like gray or mist, and rill means like either sparkling or it's something like that.
Oh, interesting.
It's naturally occurring in mines, obviously. And more specifically, it's naturally occurring in one mine only, at least in the Tolkien universe. Now, maybe in Final Fantasy, it's in more places.
It's usually centralized in one place, it seems.
Right.
Never been found outside of these caves, in fact.
So in the Tolkien universe, it's only in one mine, in one place. And it carries some significance in terms of like the storytelling of the Lord of the Rings, but also it kind of crosses over into Final Fantasy, which is why I wanted to bring this up. So there's many different ways they describe it, but one of the ways you'll hear is it's like lighter than silk, stronger than steel. And then there's like a whole bunch of other comparisons that are similar to that, right?
Interesting.
Where it's an ultralight metal that is stronger than steel itself. And so you often see it in the context of armor, weapons, those kind of things, right? So
yeah,
I loved chapter 3 here because we went into the Mythril mines. And if you're a fan of Tolkien, you remember that the Mythril mines were unique for multiple reasons. Number one, there was only one mine that had Mythril in it. And of course, there's like this fantastical origin story around it. This is one of the things they tweaked a little bit in Rings of Power that people got a little bit upset about. So I'm not going to go into that. But the point is, it was only in one place. And what happened is the dwarves found it because the dwarves historically lived in the mountains, right? And they mined for all kinds of ores. Well, they find this Mythril ore and they are so enamored by it. If you take this phrase I'm going to take and you repurpose it, you'll see where I'm going. For the love of Mythril is the root of all evil. And they dig and they dig and they dig to keep finding more and more of this stuff. And what ends up happening is they dig so deep, they unseal the Balrog of Morgoth.
Shall not pass!
And the greed in their hearts for this ore is what ultimately results in the destruction of their mine, and basically the whole mine collapses in on itself and a bunch of them die.
And that happens where in Tolkien's work?
So the Amazon series talks more about the origin story and then the story of where the dwarves dig too deep and end up finding the Balrog. That is in the trilogy.
I just can't remember. It's been so long.
Gandalf's the one that actually points it out to the others, right? Saying that this is what happened. And so like this is a story about greed and like, yes, there's this ore and it's fantastical and they wanted to arm their armies because it's practically impenetrable. But the greed is what ends up doing them in the end, right? And destroys this entire mine and that kingdom there of the dwarves. Like they end up nomads sort of afterwards. So in chapter 3, we go into the Mythril mine. And so as soon as I saw that we were going into a Mythril mine, I was like, okay, how are they going to do this? Because the first mention of Mythril in the Tolkien lore is in one of his works that was originally written around 1936.
Interesting.
So at this point, you're almost 100 years past the origin of the word. So where
are they going to go? Right.
Yeah. And so they did a great job, right? Obviously, I'll just say chapter 3 was awesome. I liked it. They wove it together with Tolkien, but not in an obvious and not in a, what I would consider like, I don't know, cringy way.
That's really interesting because I didn't make those connections. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've read The Hobbit or seen the trilogy, and I didn't watch more than just a couple clips from the Amazon series. So I'm really interested in seeing how they made that parallel because to me, When they go into the mines, Barret starts telling everybody about what mithril is.
Y'all know about mithril, right?
And in this game, it was almost played down right up front because they talk about how it had this amazing history and it was this amazing thing that they utilized, but then Shinra developed their own technology that was superior, and so mithril kind of fell apart, and that's why the mines are basically abandoned.
Shinra's been churning out stuff made with more durable alloys for years now. Even got that signature mithril sheen and everything.
In this, it was more of like a side story unless you look deeper, which I imagine you did, and I didn't see what you're going to be telling us, so I'm looking forward to that. And you're right, I was looking it up, and Tolkien is the person who first came up with the term mithril. And so this seems like one of those areas where the creators of Final Fantasy are taking from that, as they do from Star Wars, as they do from a number of different mythologies and creative works, which I think is really cool because they weave them all together in a very unique way.